Neurolens is a company that in the optical space that's really doing something that is incredibly simple, but in an elegant way. They're taking a concept that's been around for a very long time, which is without going into too much detail, which is basically helping the eyes focus with where they want. So it's taking it from not just clear vision, but also pointing the eyes at what they should be focusing on. It's a concept called prism.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm here today with Brant Southwell. He's the Vice President of Marketing at Neurolenses. Brant, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, excited to have you. So, Brant, why don't you start and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I ended up where I am in kind of a very traditional, unspectacular way. But I was in grad school at Texas A&M and did some consulting for a company called Essilor, which is now EssilorLuxottica, but this was pre-merger, a company in the optical industry. And I had no optical background, but was a really interesting company. Did some consulting for them. Went to work for them full time in sort of a strategic account role, really being close to the customer, which I loved. And then it just stuck as it often does. You get into an industry and you develop relationships and institutional knowledge, and so I stuck around. I stayed at Essilor for about a decade. Incredible experiences, incredible mentors, incredible people there. And then that sort of led into with some other Essilor folks coming on this adventure with Neurolens.
That's terrific. So, it sounds like you've had an interesting journey getting you to Neurolens. Tell me a little bit more about Neurolens.
So Neurolens is a company that in the optical space that's really doing something that is incredibly simple, but in an elegant way. They're taking a concept that's been around for a very long time, which is without going into too much detail, which is basically helping the eyes focus with where they want. So it's taking it from not just clear vision, but also pointing the eyes at what they should be focusing on. It's a concept called prism. It's been around for a very long time. It's incredibly underutilized. And the reason that is because it's also incredibly complicated. It's hard to measure and hard to put into a lens correctly. And so Neurolens was a company that was built. The thing I love most about it actually is it was built from the product up. So the product came first. It was a company that was built by doctors and by engineers that said, we can solve those problems with modern technology. And they did. And they put a product around that. And so the great news is the market potential is massive because Prism is something that almost everyone needs, but very few people get because of that complexity. So the more that we can remove complexity, the more that people will have an overall better visual experience with their glasses.
Interesting. So it sounds like, the technology is, advancing and has, grown in the time that you've been there as well.
It has. It has. It's grown a ton. So when I came on board, Neurolens was really, again, they'd really tightened up and developed an incredible product. And that's what attracted me to the company. That's what got me over the fence, is speaking to their chief technology officer and some of their engineers, and understanding the robustness of the technology they had developed. And it got me really excited. But they really hadn't begun to build a full commercial strategy, a commercial engine around that. So the opportunity to come in and do that again with 10 plus years of optical background was really exciting to me. It was very different going from Essilor and now EssilorLuxottica, which is a massive company with massive resources. And I was very fortunate to get to work there and cut my teeth there. But this is a very different challenge coming to a company that's like, we've got great technology, but we have limited resources and we have no market capture right now. So how are we going to get there? And it's been a really fun journey, sort of building that. I don't want to say from the ground up. There was certainly foundation laid when I got here, and I'm thankful for that. But getting the opportunity to really take a driver's seat role in building our commercial strategy.
That's terrific. And you mentioned Prism as one of the differentiating factors, from other companies, from other eyewear. Talk to me a little bit about some other, other differentiating factors that really separates Neurolens from its competition.
Yeah, so there's really two things that again, at the risk of oversimplifying, but going back to what I said earlier, that prism or the underlying issue called phoria that's what prism is intended to address is hard to measure because it's really subjective. And then it's also hard to put in glasses because again, there's just a ton of complexity in making an eyeglass lens. They can be incredibly simple, but there's a ton of complexity, especially as prescriptions become more complicated, as you become progressive lens wearer, as you start to add things to the lens like prism or like photochromics, if you want your lenses to go from light to dark, or like anti-reflective coating, all of those things. So lenses are actually incredibly complex, and there's a lot of R&D and marketing resources and frankly money that goes into creating them. But Neurolenses really took a simple concept that was underutilized and differentiated in two key ways. One, like I said, it's hard to measure. So how do you address that? You address that with equipment. The traditional measuring techniques are very manual, right? You literally in a lot of cases just cover one eye and then uncover and watch how the other eye moves. And so it's really old school in that way. And sometimes it works really well. Some doctors obviously are very good at doing that, but it's again it's subjective. So we really looked at it, and this was before I got here. So my colleagues really looked at it as an engineering challenge. We have high-speed cameras. We can simulate multiple focal distances in a device using screens. And so why couldn't we take those measurements using technology rather than using manual methods? So over the course of many iterations and alphas and betas and all the things that you do, they got it down to now we've launched our third generation version of the device N3, which is literally a headset, a head-mounted device. So it's gone from being like almost a room-sized, massive device to now a head-sized device. So that's number one. And being incredibly practice friendly and patient friendly is obviously part of the differentiation there. And then the lenses themselves, right? It's no good identifying a problem if you can't fix it. So, one incredibly simple thing we did is traditional prism is put into a lens in a way where it's the same here as it is here. It's the same all the way through the lens. What we did is we said that that's not really how the eyes work. You need different amounts of prism at different places. So what we did is we created kind of a variable prism. We call it contour prism, but in reality, you could call it tapered prism or progressive prism. It really makes no difference. The concept is the same. We vary the amounts of prism, and that frankly was something that no one else had done. And I was a little surprised that no one had the IP around until these guys thought of it. So again, elegant simplicity, but it's something that uh, the vast majority of patients need, but nobody gets. And so again, it's all about just removing complexity with a very patient-friendly experience that works well within an existing practice flow and allows them to create more value with their patients.
And I imagine too, a lot of the work that you do is built around building that brand awareness, showing people the different technologies, and like you said, those different reasons that really separates Neurolens from its competition, really showing that to the audience.
For sure it is. And I'm fortunate to have a great team. And we've put a lot of really sophisticated tools in place from a marketing standpoint to get our message out there. So we have a very robust digital marketing strategy, sort of a B2B2C strategy. Our primary audience is the doctors because they're ultimately making the sale. But really they're prescribing, right? They're prescribing a medical solution. So we've got a really robust pipeline strategy with lots of nurture campaigns and workflows and handoffs between marketing and sales and implementation. Um, but in a lot of ways, one thing that I sort of like about this industry is it's kind of old school. There is nothing like getting someone face to face and showing them the technology firsthand, allowing them to experience it, allowing them to talk firsthand to a doctor who has this in their practice now. So our marketing strategy, our commercial strategy overall is more events heavy. than most industries are. We spend a lot of time getting face to face with people and sponsoring national events and state level events and events for different groups and alliances. And I love it because you get to stay close to the customer that way. So it's a really, finding that exact right balance between all the tools, the modern tools that modern technology allows, then getting that personal touch of, okay, we've given you the resources, we've given you some information, we've got the hook in, we've got you interested, but now meet up with us. Let's talk face to face. We've got a great team of sales reps out there who would love to come and bring the technology into your practice and just let you live with it for a little while. So I love that dichotomy. I love that mix of kind of really modern tools and old school customer focus. Um, I really like that balance, and it really gets me energized about this industry overall.
I think that's, really, really fantastic. And, Brant, I'm curious to pick your brain a little bit. Are there any, common misconceptions that you tend to hear often? Not necessarily maybe about Neurolens, maybe the industry in general. Anything that stands out to you when I ask that question?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the most common misconception, and it's just, again, it's because not just Neuralens, but most companies in this space don't spend a ton of time on consumer facing. Contact lenses to a certain degree certainly have built really robust consumer marketing efforts. And some lens products, I think of Transitions. Transitions has probably done the best job in our industry of building more of a consumer brand and almost kind of building a Kleenex brand where Transitions is just the shorthand for photochromic.
Mhm.
So really, really well done by that team, by the way. But I think the most common misconception is that glasses are simple. Is that if you're this much nearsighted or this much farsighted, then you just get this type of lens, and there's only a couple different types of lenses, um, and if I wasn't in this industry, I would think the same thing. But really what's eye-opening is just the level of complexity in making an eyeglass lens, right? Especially as you start to add things like people with astigmatism or people who need progressive lenses, which at some point we all will, unfortunately. And then, different coatings for different needs and different lens materials that some are more impact resistant. So people who work with their hands or people who work in construction or manufacturing or something, they need more impact resistance in their glass. Maybe they even need safety lenses. Um, and then, of course, AR coatings. What do you need there? Do you want blue light protection in your AR coating? Do you want better hydrophobic layers so they're more cleanable? And there's all kinds of technology. So again, infinite amounts of complexity powered by infinite amounts of R&D manpower in this industry to create really bespoke glasses for every single person.
Mhm.
So long story short, no two glasses are made exactly the same. So I think just opening people's eyes to there is complexity here. And in a lot of cases, that's why glasses are more expensive than people expect. Especially as your prescription becomes more complex. I think people are surprised, oh, my glasses are getting more expensive. It's just because they're harder to make, frankly. But again, just rest assured, if you are like most people and outside the industry, you understandably don't really know why glasses are expensive or why they're complicated. Trust me when I say there's just a lot that goes into getting it exactly right, where for your specific visual needs, you can see clearly at every distance. That's something that's really uh, not easy
Mhm.
to accomplish, but with the combination of technology and really great doctors, the industry's done a really good job doing that.
I think that's really, really, really interesting point too. And everyone just assumes they understand how glasses work. Nearsighted, farsighted, just throw a lens in there, right? But the technology behind it, like you said, that the technology that Neurolens has worked to developed over the years is really profound. So, I imagine this has been a terrific conversation. I really appreciate all of your insights. Where can people go to learn more about Neurolens?
Sure, really simple. Just neuralens.com. Go to the website if you're interested from a B2B standpoint, there's a ton of resources there. But if you just want to find out if this is a solution that potentially you need, or if any binocular vision solution like Neuralens is something that you need, right on the homepage, there's a little button that says take the test. It's fun. I encourage you to go take it. So find out if this is something that maybe you should be talking to your eye doctor about. Neuralens specifically, but in general, uh, a lot of times people who have bad binocular vision, after they've been staring at screens or at books or anything close up for a long time, you start to get headaches and you feel like your eyes are dry and your eyes are tired. And sometimes you even get like neck pain, things like that. Um, Believe it or not, there's a very, very, very good chance that your optometrist can fix that. So give them a shot, and I guarantee you'll be impressed.
I think that's terrific. Well, Brant, like I said, this has been a very insightful conversation. I really appreciate all of your insights and you taking the time to be on Business Ninjas today.
Of course, thank you, Kelsey.
Yeah, great to have you.